This story begins with good intentions: a quiet room, fresh air, rest. Everyone involved believes they are doing the right thing. That's what makes it dangerous. The Yellow Wallpaper, published in 1892 by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, is often described as a story about madness. But that description misses something important. This is not a story about cruelty. It's a story about care, taken too far. The narrator is sent away to recover. She is told she needs rest, silence, protection. She is removed from responsibility, from work, from decision-making, from herself. The people around her insist this is kindness. They speak gently. They reassure her. They explain that they know what's best. And because they speak with certainty, because they speak with concern, their authority goes unquestioned. The narrator is not imprisoned. She is cared for. That distinction matters. She is told not to write, not to think too much, not to imagine. She is praised when she obeys, scolded when she questions. Every restriction is framed as medicine. This is how control survives, not through force, but through reassurance. The room she is placed in is bright, large windows, clean air, and yellow wallpaper. At first, it's merely unpleasant, ugly, chaotic, hard to ignore. But when a person is denied expression, the mind finds other places to speak. With nothing else to focus on, the wallpaper becomes her companion. Its patterns repeat, they twist, they refuse to settle into meaning. The longer she stares, the more alive it seems. This fixation is often described as illness, but it's also adaptation. When your thoughts are dismissed, when your voice is minimized, when your autonomy is gently removed, attention turns inward. The wallpaper becomes a place where something still moves. What unsettles the narrator most is not the pattern itself. It's what feels trapped within it, a figure, struggling, contained, trying to get free. The story never announces this moment with drama. There is no scream, no sudden break, just recognition. The narrator sees herself reflected in the wallpaper, not as she is allowed to be, but as she feels, restricted, watched, reduced. The care meant to protect her has slowly erased her. By the time others notice something is wrong, the language of care has already done its work. They are confused, they are concerned, but they do not listen. Because listening would require surrendering control. This is where the yellow wallpaper becomes unbearable. Not because of what happens, but because of how reasonable everything still sounds. No one intended harm. No one raised their voice. No one believed they were cruel. They believed they were responsible. That belief is the story's true horror. Gilman does not accuse. She observes. She shows how easily power disguises itself as protection, how authority becomes invisible when it speaks softly. This is not a story about a woman losing her mind. It's a story about a woman losing permission to have one. The wallpaper does not create her breakdown. It gives shape to it. When she finally rejects the rules placed upon her, it is not framed as victory. It is framed as necessity. Because when care denies autonomy, resistance is redefined as sickness. The most unsettling question the yellow wallpaper leaves behind is not about mental health. It's about language. How often are people silenced for their own good? How often is obedience mistaken for healing? How often does care become control, simply because it is never questioned? This story does not end with escape, it ends with recognition. And that recognition is difficult to sit with, because the people who cause the harm are not villains. They are loving, concerned, certain. And certainty, when left unchallenged, can be devastating. The yellow wallpaper asks us to look closely at the things that feel safe. The rooms we're placed in, the rules we're told are necessary. The voices we're encouraged not to trust, because sometimes the most damaging harm arrives quietly, wrapped in care.